Today, we're diving into one of the great love stories of the English Renaissance, Christopher Marlowe's Hero and Leander. It's this incredible poem about passion, beauty, and fate that's been grabbing readers for centuries. But it's also got a pretty fascinating secret hiding in its pages. You've probably heard this line before, right? It feels like one of those timeless truths about love, something that's just always been around. But it hasn't. It comes from this very poem. And get this is what really shows you the poem's power. William Shakespeare himself was so blown away by this line, he actually dropped it into one of his own plays, As You Like It. But he wasn't quoting himself. He was quoting his biggest contemporary, the absolutely brilliant and kind of notorious Christopher Marlowe. To really get this poem, you first have to get the guy who wrote it, because Hero and Leander wasn't just another poem for him. It was his last big project, and as it turns out, his unfinished masterpiece. So Christopher Kit Marlowe was basically the literary rock star of his day. I mean, born the same year as Shakespeare, he was the top playwright in London. People talked about his mighty line, this powerful, driving rhythm he used that just defined the sound of the stage. But his real life was as wild as his plays. Rumors of him being a spy, an atheist, and then it all ended in a violent and very mysterious death when he was only 29. And that's the backdrop for our story. Hero and Leander was the last thing he was working on. He took this old Greek myth and just supercharged it with this totally Renaissance vibe, all about lush, sensuous beauty, raw human passion, and this witty, almost playful eroticism. But he never got to write the end. All right, so who are the stars of this epic romance? Let's meet the two lovers whose passion was going to take on gods, sacred vows, and even the sea itself. Okay, so picture this. On one side of this big strait of water, the Hellespont, in a city called Sestos, lives Hero. She's a priestess to Venus, the goddess of love, but, and here's the irony, she's sworn to be a virgin. Then, on the other shore, in Abydos, you have Leander. A guy so good-looking that literally everyone, mortals and gods, wants him. They're separated by dangerous water and by a holy promise. Marlowe goes all out describing Hero's beauty. It's not just that she's pretty, she's like supernaturally stunning. He writes that nature itself cried after making her, thinking it had used up all its best material. Even Cupid, the god of love, gets confused and thinks she's his mom, Venus. Her beauty isn't just a quality, it's a force of nature. And Leander gets the same epic treatment. He's not just handsome, he's the picture of physical perfection. And the poem's celebration of male beauty was honestly pretty groundbreaking. Even the sea god Neptune gets a massive crush on him. That line, "In his looks were all that men desire," is so bold, suggesting a kind of beauty that just blows past any normal categories. So we've got these two paragons of beauty, and bam, they fall in love at first sight. But of course, their love story immediately runs into a couple of, let's say, huge obstacles. The first problem is a big one. It's divine. Hero is Venus's nun. For her to break her vow of chastity isn't just a personal choice. It's a slap in the face to the very goddess of love she serves. It's a massive conflict, both for her and for the world around her. So this is the central question, right? How do you get around a direct order from a goddess? How can someone who has sworn her life to chastity possibly justify giving in to her passion? Leander's weapon isn't a sword, it's his words. In a classic Renaissance move, Marlowe shows that the best tool for seduction is a sharp mind and a smooth tongue. Leander basically argues that for someone as beautiful as Hero to stay a virgin is a crime against nature itself. He completely reframes the whole idea of what's right and wrong just by making a really, really good argument. Okay, so the second obstacle is physical, but it's just as serious. The Hellespont, what we call the Dardanelles today, is a notoriously dangerous, stormy channel of water. It's a real life and death barrier that stands between them every single day. So again, the poem throws up this seemingly impossible problem. There's no bridge, no ferry. How on earth can their love survive being physically torn apart like this? And the answer is one of the most romantic, iconic images in all of literature. Every single night, Leander swims across that deadly water. And every night, Hero lights a lamp in her tower to act as a beacon, guiding him through the darkness. It's this beautiful symbol of love literally lighting the way, overcoming any distance or danger. So this nightly swim becomes the heart of their secret love affair. But the story of the poem itself has a major twist, and it has everything to do with the tragic fate of its author. This is wild. Marlowe's poem just stops. It ends right after their first night together, on this high note of pure joy and passion. He never wrote the tragic part. His sudden death left the poem as a fragment, a perfect snapshot of love at its absolute peak. So, 5 years go by, and another poet, George Chapman, decides he's going to finish the story. But their styles couldn't be more different. Marlowe's version is fun, it's sexy, it celebrates passion. Chapman's version is serious, it's moralistic, and it's all about how you can't escape your tragic fate. Chapman brings in the tragic ending that the original Greek myth had. One night, a massive storm hits. The wind blows out Hero's lamp. Leander, lost in the dark, stormy water, drowns. The next morning, when Hero finds his body washed up on the shore, she's so devastated that she throws herself from her tower to join him in death. It's the heartbreaking ending Marlowe never gave us. So what we have is this totally unique piece of literature, a poem started by one genius and finished by another, creating this work that's split right down the middle. So let's talk about why this strange, beautiful poem is still so important. When it comes down to it, Marlowe's Hero and Leander was a real game changer. It brought this witty, sexy style inspired by the Roman poet Ovid to England, and it was a total breath of fresh air. Its fearless celebration of physical beauty for both men and women was absolutely revolutionary. And of course, its influence is stamped into history by that one famous line, made immortal by his greatest rival. And that leaves us with one of literature's greatest what-ifs. Marlowe was a rebel. He loved to mess with expectations. If he had lived to finish his poem, would he really have given his lovers the sad ending everyone knew was coming? Or would he have flipped the script on the myth and let them live happily ever after? We'll just never know.